All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the AC Show. I am Aaron, aka the Handy Outdoor Nerd, and yes, this lovely gentleman next to me is not Chris, aka MrCarrellScience. This is BV3D Brian Vines.
Hello, 3D printing friends.
Chris is running a little late, trying to get his kids down to bed. Don't worry, next week his time will be a little bit different because this weekend, yes, it is the time change weekend for everybody but Arizona.
Well, isn't Arizona lucky?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
The stream is not showing up in my notifications for some reason on YouTube.
Yeah, that's because YouTube likes to be YouTube.
How dare it?
I know it.
There, now I can mute it and I can say hi to OneRaz. Hi, OneRaz.
Yes, hi, OneRaz. How are you doing tonight? Or tomorrow for you, or today, whatever it is for you.
You're sore. Why are you sore? I had to go seek out the stream. I had to search for the channel because it wasn't showing up in my list of subscriptions on the left where it normally, you know, the ones that are live kind of float up to the top for that list.
Yep.
It had not floated.
That is weird.
Indeed.
All right. Well, I'm hoping Chris will be able to pop in before you have to pop out.
Oh. One has had a run-in with gravity.
Oh. Yes. Gravity, thou art a fickle bitch.
Are you supposed to say that word on this show?
Well, they can't say that I'm, you know, setting for children. And it's my channel, so.
Okay.
So, I usually don't say that.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was a video I got to see, and it was a kid who does YouTube.
Okay. How's that working out for him with all the COPPA stuff?
Well, he's got a lot more followers than I do, which is, that's fine if you've got all that. Oh, come on, where you guys saved? The alien has come to abduct you.
I can kind of do it like this and have it all be like a tall boy hat. Looks silly. I can make myself
hilarious.
look silly by having it all like tall.
That's funny. Oh, I'm trying not to be getting sick.
Oh, yeah. Keep that to yourself.
Yeah, I'll try. All right, I'm going to tweet this out real quick while I'm waiting for my stuff to load, since my wife's on the internet and lagging my internet.
You're going to lose your connection if somebody picks up the phone.
That's how it feels.
The struggle used to be real on that one.
Yeah, no joke. Pick it up. Well, I see we've got 5 people watching, which...
Who do we have besides... Oh, I got me in there, and we've got OneRaz. I'm sorry you fell, OneRaz. Hope you're not hurting too bad.
Yeah.
Who else we got?
I have no idea. They've not decided to chime in that they're here. So,
well,
I just got the tweet out. Oh my gosh.
So there's you and me and one Raz and two.
Well, I'm not. I don't even have.
Oh, Chris is in chat.
All right. So the kid's name is Salvatore Lockret. Apparently, he's had Joel Telling as a guest on his.
That's awesome.
Well, that is awesome. But he's talking about kind of how 3D printers will pretty much possibly kill you if you have them in the same room as you sleep, or as other people would call it, Vox particles.
Volatile organic compounds.
Yes.
I think between that and nanoparticles, that's kind of where the issue is. I think PLA is mostly pretty safe, and that's mostly what I print.
Yes, and
that's
the thing.
Apart from watching the first layer, I tend not to huff the fumes. So
yeah.
Do not deliberately concentrate and inhale vapors.
So if you remember, our good friend Joe Larson did a video on Vox particles with a little Arduino to kind of, check the air quality with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it really wasn't much. I mean, ABS, yes, that did go higher. So obviously the worst thing for it was people.
Yes.
The more people you had, the worse it got.
Yes. That will affect air quality.
But the kids was saying stuff on like how he had it in his room and it made him just issues sleeping, and a bunch of other stuff was, well, one, why
especially
would
if you don't have those quiet
sleeping?
drivers?
Yeah, but it's really funny because right behind him, I'll pop it up on screen so you can see. Come on, computer. And I want Chrome tabs. All right. This is why I should kick my wife off the internet before I start my streams.
That's not nice. Couple of robos.
He's got some robos behind him. And I know some people have got some choice words for the robos.
Those robo R2s.
Those are R2s. And a certain science man does not like his robos that he has for his classroom. Yes, they give him problems.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so, I mean, if he had those robos running, I guess that's a big part of his problem there.
Well, what's wrong with them?
Chris's is a lot of things. There's the Arduinos in there, some stuff wrong with that. There's like a big list he's got wrong with it, which is weird.
How much of that is mechanical and how much of that is something you could solve by just sticking like an MKS Gen L in there or something?
Oh, no, I completely agree. Just change that out. I mean, that's, I think, the big part of the problem with them is their main boards and stuff that they have set up for it.
Chris says, Wait until I tell you what happened to my ANET today. Okay, well, I'll wait.
We're waiting, Chris. We're waiting.
I would like to know now, but I will wait.
So yeah, so he's talking about them, and it's kind of interesting, which I need to take this one away and pop it back up there and select the sound. Because I made the mistake of, oh.
I'm back.
Yes, that's what happens when it's lagging. It's not. All right, Chrome windows. Let's pop up audio. There we go. There has one. It burned up. All right. Now, let's listen to what he's got to say.
I was living in an apartment with all my.
Can you hear what he's saying?
Room, printing about
Barely.
24/7.
Okay.
And I always had a weird symptom of waking up with a headache. I could never figure that out. I thought maybe I wasn't drinking water. Maybe I needed some milk. But other than that, I really couldn't figure it out. But once I moved into a house where my 3D printers were no longer in my room, all those symptoms seemed to disappear. I never thought much of this until recently, about 3 weeks ago, I started hearing more on this microparticles thing causing these issues with all these different materials. So I thought, why don't I do the proper research and then we'll figure out if that was actually affecting me. But before we get into this video, I must let you know, I am not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I just know how to do research, okay? Down in the description below for all you guys who are about to go on their keyboard.
You don't say you're not a doctor or scientist at what, like 13? Oh, come on.
What about Doogie Howser?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Doogie Howser. Okay, so a big part
Well,
of
now
the
wait. Before we get further on this one.
Yeah.
So he's in an apartment and waking up with headaches.
Yep.
Moves into a different house.
Yep.
And the printers are no longer in the room, but it's also a different house, and he no longer wakes up with headaches.
Yep.
Isn't like having headaches and stuff like a symptom of, like, black mold or something?
I believe so. That black mold could be a cause to these said headaches. I mean,
Just wondering.
And also depending on what material you're printing, that
Yes.
does not help. A big part of my problem I have with his research he was doing, where he got all of his studies from.
Hi, Cosmic. I am the ersatz Mr. Carroll. No, he'll be here soon. He's putting the kids to bed, and they're having a rough night or something.
Oh yeah,
he'll be
all
in
right.
soon.
So look at this. 4 different links to the exact same web page.
But
It's
are
the
they
same.
anchored in different spots?
I mean, they're anchored in different spots, but it's not like, look, I'm pulling it from this different source, this source, and then this source, and then this source. It's all the same source with different things on it. That's
Okay.
That's part of the problem I have is if you're going to do research, use multiple sources. Don't go and use the same web page for the exact same thing over and over again. So that's a big part of the problem I have. And the fact that it could have been mold. It could have not been his printers doing that. But I mean, there's not true research done with it to see how it affects you in your day-to-day life. You'd have to have a clean room and then set up a printer or 2 and then just keep doing that, and then just have them go at the same time. You just stay in there to see how that affects you. That's the true way to do a test. So that's a big part of the problem I have with that. So let's continue to hear what he has to say.
right? There are all the citations, right, to all these different websites and articles and studies that I've cited. So just so you know, before you go read in the comments section, or DM me saying kill yourself, or a lot of other hurtful things. Let's get into this.
And yes, people will DM you all kinds of hurtful things because,
Oh yeah.
First off, let's look at
for the most part, people are.
Oh, yeah, they're jerks. They are. And we just talked about this before the stream. You had someone comment that was I had someone recently do that, and he saw that I deleted it and he got really pissed off. Then he deleted his ranting comment that he did, which was funny.
Yeah. I accidentally deleted one of this person's comments. I intended to not delete them and simply hide them from the channel, but I clicked the wrong thing.
Yeah, whenever I did it on my phone and just kind of deleted it at that point. Yeah. So, which happens, and you know,
I don't have to deal with
it. So, but let's continue.
Yes.
Now, a 3D printer generally has a few different systems. First, you have your stepper motors. They just use electricity to move some linear rods or some belts to actually move a carriage or something like that. And you have your... We can kind of out those because those really don't do anything hazardous. I mean, all they really would release is heat. And I mean, unless you're freaking Iceman, it's not going to hurt you. Second, let's look at the bed. Now, on the 3D printer bed, it's literally just a bunch of copper wire in a certain pattern, and with a higher amount of power, it can actually heat the bed. So, generally, heating the bed wouldn't be dangerous, but people like to put things on the 3D printer bed, and that could possibly be hazardous. Now,
I like to put melted plastic on mine.
Hairsprays and glue sticks and some other materials that are designed for this, and those are generally the common ones. So first,
well, here's one problem. He said people use hairsprays. Hairspray is really bad. It goes everywhere. It's airborne.
That's how it comes out of the can.
Yep. And if you're using hairspray,
okay.
Also,
wait. Hold it.
I'm
using comments right now.
Hairspray.
Time for a hair break. Okay. I'm today everything is just weird with my stream, but that's okay. Let me just, in defense of this kid, all right? I don't know how old he is. I don't know anything about him. I've been watching the stream for the past 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. Let me just say, in defense of the kid, as a middle school teacher, all right? I taught science for the last 6 years. Here's what I have to say about it. Number one, his experiment is flawed, but that's okay. And I think we can overlook the fact that he has a flawed experiment because he's a kid, you know? Number two,
I agree with that.
He's talking about things that could have caused his headache. And I think that it's absolutely possible that there were some VOCs in the air that were giving him headaches depending on what brand of filament he was using, what type of filament he was using that he hasn't mentioned yet. He might mention it later in the video, but he hasn't mentioned it so far that we've seen. Number three, he didn't eliminate all other variables. And that's where the major flaw in his experiment comes from, is he has certain variables that did not get eliminated from his experiment. For example, you guys mentioned how it could be mold or something like that. He didn't test for those things, and so because he didn't test for anything else, it makes his experiment slightly flawed because it could have been a variety of other environmental issues that were present in the former home, whether it's mold, whether it's just noise. I mean, because I can tell you right now, if I wasn't sleeping well because I had a 3D printer stepper motor all night long, that'd give me headaches too. Exactly. That'd give me headaches too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but he did a couple of really good things. He formulated a hypothesis right?
Mhm.
He researched that topic and he came to a conclusion based on his research. That's a research-based hypothesis. And so I applaud him for that. And I think he's done really, really well. I think that he's neglected to see what other issues could potentially have caused the problem. And his experiment is flawed because he wasn't able to isolate only one variable where he was in the exact same environment. The only thing that changed was removing the 3D printers. And in fact, the only thing that should have changed is not even removing the 3D printers, but just maybe not printing with them while he was sleeping, but leaving everything else there. So keeping everything exactly the same. His experiment was not controlled. That's the big problem.
And that's
Yeah.
what I was saying. Like, you needed a controlled environment to do the experiment properly. And
But
see,
can we
I
just
knew
mention-
this would be perfect for you, Chris. I knew this was a perfect subject to talk about.
Can we just mention one thing? First of all, I applaud this kid 100%. I support him.
Yep.
I'm going to go like this video. Like,
Oh yeah.
Right
don't
now.
don't just like it,
Because-
but don't.
he's got 2 Robo 3D printers that actually work.
And they work, yes.
You
Yeah,
kidding me?
they do.
I mean, even
Yep.
the great Joel Telling could not get 2 Robo 3D printers to work. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? In fact, he had 2 Robo 3D printers that he had to send both of them back because they were both not working. I'm just saying.
And let's applaud this 13-year-old kid for having 1.56K subs.
One thing that's interesting about this is the title of the video. Your 3D printer could be slowly killing you without your knowledge. But after watching this video, your 3D printer could be slowly killing you with your knowledge.
Yes.
Hashtag not clickbait, right? You should put that.
But,
Put that in the thumbnail for this week's stream. Be like, "Is your 3D printer killing you?" Question mark! Exclamation point.
Anytime
But-
there is a question in the headline, the answer automatically is no.
Yep.
That's not true.
But I figured this was a good one to have 3 people debate on. But let me continue with Salvatore's video.
I thought I'd take a look at glue sticks. Now, first I took a look at the official Elmer's glue stick Wikipedia. Now, what I found on there was really nothing that hazardous. I mean, the actual glue stick, I think, is like 40% water. So, I mean, you could pretty much eat it, and I think you'd be fine. And it's pretty safe.
That reminds me,
I
I'm hungry.
Kind of cut that one off of the bill of things that are hazardous. I next took a look at hairspray, and I concluded that there are 2 reasons why it could possibly be hazardous. The first being inhalation, as you do spray a lot of hairspray onto the 3D printer bed, and the inhalation of the fumes could possibly be dangerous. But in low quantities and in a well-ventilated area, you should
Correct.
have to worry about the actual aerosols being ignited. Aerosols ignite at 120 degrees Fahrenheit, or for the rest of the world, 48.9 degrees Celsius. Just for a little context, the 3D printer bed heats to a minimum of about 60 degrees Celsius, or 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And if your bed's heated, you generally have your hot end heated as well. Your hot end minimally heats to about 356 degrees Fahrenheit, or 180 degrees Celsius. Now, you must be wondering, what do aerosols do when they get heated up? Well, I know. So, to represent the aerosols from hairspray reaching your 3D printer bed, what we're going to do is we're going to light this and go. Wow.
But that's not
pretty
what happens
crazy. I don't
because
want
you
that
don't have an
happening to
open flame on your
Whoa,
printer.
that'd be overtraining, wouldn't it?
This is true.
Yeah.
You do not have an
Be
open flame.
careful. Another active ingredient in hairspray is the 25 to 50% alcohol, depending on brand. But generally, that's really not enough to be too flammable. It's usually the aerosols that would catch fire. So I can kind of
I could
count that
use
off the
something
list of things that are
50%
dangerous about
alcohol.
hairspray. For the products that you're applying to the bed, generally what I recommend you do is stick to applying it cold unless directions say otherwise, because very bad things can happen, and you don't want bad things to happen, because when bad things happen, and bad things are not good to happen. Next, we must take
Really?
a look at the hot end, which is the part of the
He brings up a good point.
that the plastic
Indeed.
Inhaling
without melting.
fire, probably bad for you.
Now,
This is true. But yes, bad things happen. Well, it's bad if bad things happen. I agree. But But yeah, your printer's not going to have an open flame. If there's an open flame, you've already got trouble.
Would you
Or
like
an
to know what
ANET.
happened to my ANET today?
Yeah, speaking of open flames, tell us about your ANET.
Tell us about the ANET, Chris.
So many of you guys know that I have been working on a prototype BattleBot that eventually I'm going to submit my idea to BattleBots because I'm trying to get on the competition. Never built a robot from scratch like this before. Became very excited when I saw Joel Telling's video this last Sunday. Did you guys watch that one? With the 19-year-old girl that teaches robotics by creating those $20 robot kits with customizable wheels and things like that. I got really, really excited about that, but I recently have been ordering some parts so I can build a prototype, a small 1-pound version of my robot, because there is a small robot fighting competition that's going to be happening near my, like 3 hours away from my house. Coming
Is
up.
the competition small or the robots that are having fights small?
Both.
Okay.
Both. So it's gonna be, it's put on by a group that's called Arizona Robotic Combat, and so there's a 1-pound robot division that I'm trying to get my robot to fit within 1 pound, but everything that I make is too heavy, so I've been struggling with that. But anyways, today I was sitting there at work, and on Fridays we have kind of a chill day. It's a day for kids to come in and get extra help on assignments that they missed or whatever. That's the way we do on Fridays normally. So I'm sitting there on Friday, and I teach robotics, and so a lot of the kids don't like to come to my class on Fridays because they don't usually need help. I mean, if you're failing robotics, I mean, you're trying to fail robotics. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. Like, if you can't get into build this robot when it's a class that you chose to be in, then you're just going to fail anyway. So most of the time, kids don't come to my class if they need help. But while I was sitting there, I didn't have any students in my class at the time, and I had this little prototype that I wanted to 3D print a chassis for, and so I downloaded the file off Fusion 360. I threw it on my ANET 3D printer, my ANET A8, which was sitting there behind my desk, and I was leveling the bed to make sure that everything was good. And while I'm leveling the bed, all of a sudden I hear this pop. I see a bright spark, and I smell smoke, and I said, uh-oh. And so I quickly, because the ANET A8 does not have a power switch on it, the only way to turn that bad boy off is to unplug it. So I reached around to where the what do you call it?
Outlet? Surge
Not
protector?
the outlet. The thing you plug into the outlet, the power strip, the
Surge protector.
So I have
Power
a surge protector. So I reached around and flipped the switch on the surge protector to turn it off. And when I flip the switch, I turn my ANET sideways, and I see that on the power supply, there's 3 wires that go in, and one of those wires has completely fried, and it went over and touched. It was the ground wire had completely fried, went over and touched the main power wire, and it was halfway fried, and it scared me a little bit. I may or may not have had to change my pants after that, but
I've got a video with an STL you can go download that you can print a cover for that power supply, and it has a power switch and a fuse.
And that is my project for this weekend. But I was like, hey, you know what? I should really print a cover for that has a little switch in there. And I'm like, that's a good idea. And then I was like, except for the fact that I have 3 3D printers in this room and none of them work.
Well,
yeah, because I've got my 2 robos that they have too many issues right now. I would love to fix them. The problem is trying to order stuff through my school is kind of a pain. So I have to build up a parts list. The problem is, it's like, you know how you go and do a home improvement project and you end up going to Home Depot like 8 times because you're like, oh crap, I forgot the shims. Oh crap, I forgot these nails. Oh crap, I forgot this.
That's me doing a plumbing project.
Yeah.
I went to Lowe's like 5 times in a row trying to put a faucet in the kitchen.
Brian,
Yeah.
Brian,
Oh,
here's my
crap, I need
question.
this.
Why,
Yes.
why are you getting nails for plumbing?
Well, no, you accidentally drove a nail through the pipe, so you have to go back and replace the plumbing piece. That's what it is. So the thing is, I'm not 100% sure what's wrong with these 3D printers because they just don't turn on. And so I can tell that the Arduino is not, the Raspberry Pi is not receiving power. But if I manually plug the Raspberry Pi into an external power source, it still doesn't turn on. And so I don't know if I need a new main board, if I need a new Raspberry Pi, if I need both, if I just need to replace some wires, connectors. But either way, it's looking like it's going to be an expensive fix for both of them. And so it's stressing me out to no end. But basically, I can't print. One of the robos I can print on, but the print quality is very poor. And I need to go in and I need to do some regular maintenance, tighten belts, replace nozzles, things like that. But you have to get like proprietary nozzles and you have to do all kinds of stuff because it's a robo machine. And my school, because they purchased it, they want to make sure we don't void the warranty. Everything has to be like done specifically the right way. I can't just grab a different board and throw a new board in it because it has to be covered under Robo's warranty. But yeah, it's a mess. I can't get Robo to do anything unless I have the original receipt from buying the printers. But I didn't buy them. I inherited them when I came to my classroom this year. So I've got 3 printers that I would love to. Yeah.
Go to Lowe's, buy a bag of these things, these little port connectors.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a kit that includes the crimper.
I have that kit.
And if you don't have it, get it. If you do have it, crimp new ends on your 3 conductors that come out of that power cable for your A nut, and you'll be good to go.
Yep.
I do have that. See, I've had my internet for like 4 years, and I've never had any issues with it. And then all of a sudden, I got this spark, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, my classroom's going to set on fire all of a sudden."
I fairly recently,
Hey, Eddie.
within a couple of months. Hey, Eddie. And within a couple of months, I've already done that to mine, Brian. Those crimp those on. So, all right. So now that we've talked about Chris trying to burn the school down,
I try. I do what I can.
We'll get back to Salvatore's video.
The actual hot end is literally just the same as the printer bed, but in a little tiny cartridge on a small little heated block device. Now it uses a high amount of power to create heat, and that heat creates resistance, and heat builds up, and heat makes the plastic melt, and that is good. Now we have to actually look into the filaments that are being melted. But keep in mind, it is very complicated, so I'm not going to go too in depth. I just want you guys to get a brief understanding of how it works, right? When all these filaments were tested, they were finding ultra-fine particles under 0.1 micrometer, which, for a little bit of context, is 1/1,000,000th of a meter. So these are tiny grains of sand that are smaller than grains of sand that are smaller than those grains of sand. They're very small. And they're just flying everywhere from the 3D printer. They might be wondering, what do those do? Well, those can be very harmful because they can deposit in your respiratory tract, which is like your breathing, your lungs, and to your bloodstream. They can translocate to your organs, which, my liver, a little damage there, and damage the mitochondria. We cannot damage the mitochondria. This is the balance of the cell. Sorry,
What in the world is happening?
Mr. Sealand, you blessed me there. If we look specifically at the materials, though,
I believe that's called Tourette's, Brian.
ABS and nylons that were tested.
Okay,
that's what I was going to say.
Look at emission rates, and ABS was high.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, did he just have a Tourette's episode?
Yeah,
I'm not. Obviously, we're not trying to make fun of the kid, but you don't have to shout at the camera for a video you are doing like that. No, you don't have to do that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's a middle schooler, so middle school. That's a
And
common thing
PLA
to
was a little bit lower,
make.
Yeah.
but they still all emitted different types of materials. Now, why did nylon and ABS emit
Well,
more?
they're all different types of
Well,
materials.
There's varying ideas for this, but generally one of the ideas is thought that temperature affects this. Now, they think that the hotter the hot end gets has something to do with the more that is emitted from the 3D printer. The hotter the hot end gets. That is a tongue twister. Please end my suffering. Now let's take a look specifically at PLA. PLA releases lactide when heated. Now, what is lactide? Because, you know, we're not the big brains here. Lactide is actually an organic compound and is generally known to be not.
Well, we've got a big brain here. Hey, he's a science teacher.
But
Eddie teaches science.
But he has
Well,
blood
I'm
in his
talking about
body,
you.
and he has blood in his body, and blood is an organic compound.
Yes,
No.
blood is.
Just
But,
He's talking about plastic particles being in the air, which, I mean,
Yep.
I'm all right. One more science rant, and then I'll be done probably. But I remember taking chemistry classes in college, getting ready to become a science teacher. You know, I have a degree in elementary education with an emphasis in science. I had to take chemistry classes, biology classes, things like that. And one of the things that was mentioned to me by my chemistry professor is that plastics can emit carcinogens, especially when heated. And so I definitely can see this being a thing. One thing that I've always disliked is microwaving food on a plastic dish.
Mhm.
That stresses me out more than anything. Like, have you ever reheated a slice of pizza on a styrofoam plate in the microwave and it melts through the styrofoam and you're like, half of this pizza is now styrofoam and half of it's cheese, you know?
No, but I've done that with a cup of coffee one time when I was a corrections officer, and it almost made me throw up.
And so to me, like, I can definitely see, I know that that heating up plastics can release carcinogens, but the way I see that is I think that we're releasing more carcinogens. I think we're releasing more carcinogens into the air via many other means than just 3D printing. And I think that the difference in what's going to make you sick, I guess, a room that has a 3D printer in it versus a room that doesn't have a 3D printer in it, I don't think that it's a significant enough difference to actually cause you more harm than just living your life. I mean, when you think about pollution, like, I'm not like a tree hugger guy. I'm not one that I personally don't feel like climate change is being caused by humans. I know that the climate is changing. I know that, yes, the earth is warming gradually over many years, but at the same time, we've had periods of global warming and global cooling before. Obviously, the world has been warming up for a long time because we had, as recently as 7,000 years ago, an ice age. And so if we've had ice ages in the past, in order to have more than one ice age, there has to have been some sort of global cooling process somewhere to cause that to happen. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, even though I'm not a huge believer in that kind of stuff, but when you look out at Phoenix, Phoenix is the fifth largest city in the United States. That's 3 hours away from my house. And when I go to Phoenix and I look out at the skyline, you can see that the sky is not blue in Phoenix. The sky is brown. And it's directly caused by pollution. And so while I don't think that pollution is causing the earth to change, it's definitely gross thinking that you're breathing that air in. In fact, they estimate that the pollution in Mexico City is so bad that just breathing the air for one day is akin to smoking an entire pack of cigarettes. And so to me, when I think about my family being healthy, when I think about carcinogens being put into the air, when I think about, I wouldn't want my child to walk. I don't like my children to even walk by somebody who's smoking a cigarette, because I know the kind of nasty stuff that can cause. I'm asthmatic to cigarette smoke, and so just me walking by someone, it makes me have trouble breathing unless I get some more fresh air soon. And so, me personally, I don't think that melting plastic in your 3D printer is going to cause that much of a difference, but I do think that there is some sort of an issue with pollution that needs to be taken care of on a much grander scale. But on a small scale in a room, I don't think we have that much to worry about.
But yeah, so yep. All right, back to his video.
Now, you might be wondering, what is PLA made of? Well, it's actually made of, I'm pretty sure, sugarcane and other natural materials. Now, it's pretty much a natural plastic, and that's why it's so biodegradable. And this is very important for it to be safe. But now we're going to take a look at ABS and nylon. These release styrene, which is actually an inorganic material, and it is actually very dangerous for you. When inhaled, it is believed to be possibly carcinogenic. Now, what does carcinogenic mean? Well, carcinogenic actually means it causes cancer, or could cause cancer. Now, possibly carcinogenic is kind of a bubble word. If you think about anything, coffee is possibly carcinogenic. Pretty much everything in life gives you cancer.
If you live in California.
Life is against us. Now, some will argue that everything gives off microparticles, even grilling a hot dog bowl. But they're giving off organic microparticles, which are known to be less harmful to you. Now, when you're first overexposed, nothing too bad will happen. You'll most likely get a headache and maybe get a rash in your lungs or something. Other than that, though, you should be fine.
I gotta reach in and scratch this rash.
Could be possibly dangerous. So please be careful. So,
police,
what should we do
police,
about this?
be careful.
We should all get rid of all of our 3D printers. If I said that, you would all hit that dislike button and then bully me. And that is bad. And because that idea is bad, and that is understandable, what should we do about this issue? Now, I have a few different things we should do. First thing, try to move your 3D printer away from where you would normally be. For example, move it into your garage or somewhere where there's good ventilation.
Open a window.
Brings me to the second topic, good ventilation. Maybe cracking a window, something like that. It always helps. But I know there are many of you who print materials that need the heat of an inside of a house and cannot have a window cracked open because
build an enclosure
could screw up the print and have something.
I live in Arizona where it's 125 degrees in the summertime. I'm not cracking my window because I got my AC going.
Of the microparticles in the
Just
air,
put your printer outside.
out of the air, cleaning
Okay,
it
oh, it
for
needs
you,
the heat, right?
making sure you don't get cancer. Down in the description below, I've got some great options for you guys. Great options, and they also support me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned a little bit more about the topic.
I didn't really learn anything about the topic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the.
Well, but if you didn't know anything about it, if you were like a complete total newbie to 3D printing, you just got a 3D printer for Christmas or something, you know much about it, then I mean it was pretty informative. A lot of his information was really good. He did do research on this stuff. The only problem is that it just wasn't a he wasn't able to eliminate and control the experiment as well as he should. But I mean,
sorry about that, Brad. You did it again.
He's like,
taking
get out of here,
video,
I don't want
taking that video out, and then.
So,
but yeah, I mean, and the problem with that I was also having, I was saying earlier, is everything he's got listed is from the exact same source. Go to different things. And one thing about Wikipedia, anybody can change things in Wikipedia. That's a big part of the problem.
I love Wikipedia. Anyone can post anything about any topic, so you know that the information you're getting is perfectly true.
Yeah, and that's what I said.
Watch The Office? That's his favorite website, Wikipedia. No, but Eddie, like I was saying, man,
I'm not trying to rip him apart.
I really think that he had a lot of really good information. I agree with a lot of what he was saying. I mean, yeah, I think that plastic nanoparticles are a big deal. I just don't think that the experiment was thorough enough. But at the same time, I mean, for a middle school kid, for a 13-year-old kid to have done the research and the experiment that he did, I think it's really cool. And in fact, I would love to see him try to continue that experiment. And maybe I'll even reach out to him and ask if we could do it in conjunction with our 2 channels, because that is 100% exactly the kind of experiment that I would want one of my students to do at home, because I'm curious to know what the answer is, and I would love to see their thought process and how they actually perform the experiment. Because this is one of those where it was something that he thought of after the fact, and he didn't really explore the topic further. He just did research on it, and he didn't actually try to prove his hypothesis true or false. And so I really liked the video. I thought that he did a good job at presenting his case, and I hope that he continues to do more within the future, because I think we have a lot to learn about that topic. I don't know that there's been a ton of solid scientific research to that.
There truly hasn't. He listed down below, and I'll have it posted in the link if anybody wants to check out his video and then see all the stuff he's got listed in the description for his video. But the problem I have is it's all from the same source.
Do they have like inexpensive, like in like the $15-$20 range air quality monitor type things that?
Well, yeah, you have to do like an Arduino kind of setup, like Joe Larson did. I mean, they're kind of expensive, but
if it could be done on the cheap, and you could and he could do, even just like a foam core kind of enclosure.
Yeah,
Walmart
to see how it
quality tester TVOC analyzer for $45.
Yeah,
it's not too bad.
Because you could test that in a couple of ways. You could test it in an enclosure with different filament types, and you can test it in an open room, say at 6 or 10 feet away, running through the different filament types and seeing what the air quality is like, and also testing in that room without the printers running at all.
Yeah,
and see, what's the air quality like when the printers aren't running? What's the air quality like inside the enclosure? What's the air quality like
after you spray a can of air spray and it sets for 10 hours?
Yeah.
So yeah, all these things he could have done, and
but these are things that could be done. That could be done, like Chris was saying.
We know that there's nasty stuff in hairspray. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But most of the nasty stuff that's in hairspray, the stuff that you would inhale, because hairspray really, the liquid it's aerosolized by putting butane and things like that in the can. But and that most the stuff that's flammable is the propellant. It's the stuff that they use to pressurize. And so I would be interested more in. I mean, there was a couple of years ago, I think there was a huge fire at a school where a kid had set a 3D printer on fire, and they were trying to claim that 3D printing was super dangerous because of it, when really what had happened is the kid took an entire can of hairspray, sprayed it all over his bed, so there's this huge cloud of hairspray in the room, and then his parents were like magicians or something like that, and for some reason
I remember this one.
He had a whole pack of like flash paper. And so like the flash paper goes off, it sparks this big thing, it sets the hairspray cloud on fire, and it causes huge controversy when it was really hairspray and flash paper that was causing the problem, and it had nothing to do with the 3D printer at all.
Yep.
But I think That's a good test, and I think maybe I'll try and do that on my channel. Maybe when summertime comes and I have a little more time, maybe if I can actually get one of my 3D printers to work, then I mean,
not burn down
do
places.
a collab with the kid.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can contact him and see,
Oh,
because
yeah.
that would be super fun, because I really like the research that he did, and I agree with pretty much all of it. I just personally, I think that we have so much pollution and crap. I
Well,
just
one of the things about research like that is that your results have to be repeatable. So why not do the experiments in 2 different locations at the same time?
That's
Yes.
great.
That would be kind of cool.
That's great. Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can contact him. Aaron, will you shoot me, because I missed the first part of the stream. I didn't see.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't even know what the
No,
kid's
that's not a
name is.
problem. I will. Yeah, I will
Message me
totally.
something so that I can try and get in contact with him, because that'd be
Yeah,
really
I'll
fun.
totally.
I'd like to work with him and see what we can
And
do.
I've checked out some of his other videos, and he's got some decent quality. I mean, he's got 1.25K.
That's cool.
So I mean, for like a 13-year-old kid, that's really good.
That's pretty good.
So, but yeah, I mean, and he got Joel Telling on there for an interview, just all this other stuff. I mean, he's got a lot of videos to go through, but there was just flawed in that, and that had popped up, and I was like, oh, let's check this out and see what this is about. Because as I go through the week and try to look for things to talk about, I'll pull things off of the wonderful Facebook groups and kind of see what they've got to offer on some stuff. Some stuff's pretty cool. There's another thing on there. I'll wait till next week so Chris can kind of have it on his, because we won't have the time to go through. But that one will be pretty cool to kind of talk about. But I found this one, and I was just kind of like, the microparticles, Fox particles. I think that's a really good subject to kind of talk about, and the truths and myths about it. So, and
I know that especially in the paint industry, they've been coming out with, in the last maybe 10 years, they've made huge strides in paint manufacturing. It used to be that paint was, I mean, well, you guys broke my keyboard. It used to be that the paint would have so many VOCs in there that, I mean, you get super high if you spent time in the room. And this is actually a really common topic that we talk about in my classes, because the kids are always talking about stupid stuff, and I have to really wrangle them in and let them know how serious the things are they're talking about, because they talk about, sniffing markers and stuff like that. All of those things, it's you inhaling these VOCs, but the bigger problem, other than inhaling some sort of harmful chemical, it's really not about that. It's basically, anytime that you inhale something that's not air, anytime that your brain doesn't get the oxygen that it needs, your brain starts to shut down. You start to kill brain cells. And that's really where the bigger issue comes into it, is, anytime you deprive your brain of oxygen, you're going to lose brain cells. And that's where that feeling of getting high comes from. And so, and I explained to the kids, of all the cells in your body, the only ones that don't regenerate are brain cells. You can't get more brain cells. What you've got is what you've got, and they don't regenerate. So you've got to really take care of what you have, because every time you do that, you kill something. And they call kids, tweakers, whatever, when they think they do drugs. And I tell them, do you even know what that means? You ever see someone twitch? The reason why they do that is because they've killed brain cells. They've killed those neural pathways that connect their brain to their body. They don't have control over those pathways anymore. And so their brains have to rewire themselves in order to be able to communicate, just to make your arm move. Those pathways that your brain, sends those electrical impulses down, those synapses, they don't work anymore. And so if you do too many drugs and things like that, you break those neural pathways, and your brain has to completely retrain itself. somebody has a stroke, they have to relearn how to walk because their brain can't communicate with their legs the way that they could before their stroke because those neural pathways have died.
And they've got to learn to speak.
So with paint, it used to be there was really bad. You get high just being in the same room as paint cans. Then they switched to these low VOC paints. Maybe probably 8 years ago they switched to these low VOC paints, and then now maybe 5 years ago they came out with these new no VOC paints that actually are not supposed to at least release these harmful chemicals into the air, so that you don't have to worry about. I mean, it was kind of a joke when I was working construction that the painters were always the ones that were the druggies because they were always high. But
yeah,
unfortunate, but yeah.
So yep.
Eddie, I'm sorry we broke your keyboard.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I wanted to kind of, talk about it as a subject. I thought it was a great subject to talk about. And I respect the kid for doing what he did on it. And it was good. Like you said, there's flaws in it. He just needs to do it.
But you'd expect there to be flaws in an experiment that was done by a 13-year-old, It's not like it was a professional college study, The kid just thought about it and said, hey, ever since we moved to this new house, I haven't had any headaches. And that's the big difference that he saw. And so he asked the question, he did research on it, and he was presenting his findings. I think that's really awesome.
All right, and Brian's got to go, so... Oh, nope. Is he coming back? He just decided to dump out?
Well, I was reaching up to click the little thing between private chat and live chat, and apparently I clicked the wrong thing. And it was like a sign out button or something, and all of a sudden I wasn't here anymore.
Yeah, the leave studio.
So anyway, but yeah, I actually do need to get going.
Yeah. So yeah. All right, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Chris. If you reach out to the kid that did that video, and y'all want to do a deal with an actual air quality monitor or something, let me know, and I'll cover part of the cost of that.
Nice,
because I think that would be kind of interesting to see.
Oh yeah,
to get that experiment going in two different sites, and kind of have it, like the same experiment but in two different places, and see if the results are similar or not. Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah.
So all right, I got to get going.
All right, Brian. Take care.
Bye, everyone. Have a good evening.
See you, Brain.
Bye.
So yeah. I figured it would be right up your alley to kind of talk about, and having Brian as another person to kind of shoot off of.
Yeah, sorry I was late.
That's all right.
My kid, we were having a bit of a late night, and we had to run to the grocery store kind of late, and we didn't get dinner until you saw me eating a cheeseburger as I sat down, so I had my two kids eating dinner here next to me while I was getting the stream ready to go, and so
I understand that completely.
Tried to get them all ready to go and in bed, but
yep, 100% understand. But yeah, so I mean that's kind of the one thing I wanted to talk about, but also I wanted to talk about something we've talked about fairly recently. And I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what it is. I have no idea. Yes.
Do. Yeah, my wife's watching stuff on TV, so it's
Elliot, my 6-year-old. The other day it was a Sunday afternoon, and we put a TV with a Roku in our room on our bed, and I laid down on my bed, and Elliot comes and lays down next to me, and he's like, "Dad, can we watch Jeopardy?" And I was like, "Yeah, you like Jeopardy?" And he's like, "I love Jeopardy," and I was like, all right, my kid loves Jeopardy. I'm sure I love Jeopardy.
All right, everybody. You've got 4 days. Today, right now, is the 6th. 6th. And you got 4 days to back our good friend Joe Larson, aka 3D Printing Professors Kickstarter Print-a-Block Mix.
I'm very excited for this.
He's got
this is so much fun.
4 days. He's got 353 subscribers. I actually changed my subscription plan on it. And his goal was $500. He's got it to $6,700. I am so happy about this.
No, this is really cool.
I'm super
happy
excited.
for it. These print-a-block things, they are seriously so good. They're genius. They're so much fun. They look awesome. I love it. I'm so excited for this. This is definitely one of the coolest ones he did. I backed the Chibimal's one, but I wasn't like super into it. The low poly dinos I thought were awesome, and these print-a-block ones, man, really cool. I'm excited to try and print the. I want to print the wheels with the built-in bearing. I think that's so cool.
That is so cool. But look at the bottom tier, the $100 or more is all gone. There's still the $42 or more, which you get the mechs, the Chibimals, and the low poly dinos. And then you get the $30 or more, where you get the mechs and the Chibimals. I wasn't seeing the mechs and the low poly dinos, but I actually changed mine to back that one. So I'm backing that one for whatever is not showing that up on mine. But there's the $13 or more, and you get the print-a-blocks. You can do the $10 and you get the print-a-blocks. But
Eddie, maybe your Corsair keyboard is not so nice. Maybe you should have gone with the Red Dragon or something.
But yeah, so here you go. So I pledged the $30 or more, and I'll get the mechs and the dinos.
Did you see the update that he posted today on the Kickstarter?
I did not get a chance to check that out.
He just finished modeling a few new pieces, and so with this most recent stretch goal, he only put up like 4 or 5 new pieces, but some of the new pieces are articulating joints so that you can actually move and pose the hinges instead of having them just flop over, which is something we talked about on the stream last week. So
we just talked about that last week, so that's awesome.
Yeah, really cool. So I'm super excited for that, because he actually had a few pieces printed out that were actually posed, and it wasn't ones that he photoshopped and faked like he did last week.
That's pretty cool. That's one nice thing I like about this is we've talked about different things that could be done with it, and he's implemented them. Like you've talked about the hole in the center of them, so if a kid swallows them, they can breathe, and so he did that, and he's done a couple other different things. So I am super excited for this to finish, and it says that once it's all done by April, which I mean, yes, it's only the 6th. It'll be the 10th when it ends. Excuse me. But having to wait till April is not a big deal. I'm super excited about it. I cannot wait.
I want to see I want to see the boxes. I want to print the boxes to be able to put the pieces in.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really excited about. I want to see what he's come up with for that, because I'm hoping that he's got something a little bit different in the works. I saw kind of what he thought he has, like they're like stackable with like magnets in them, and I'm wondering if he's got something else in the works for something that maybe like little compartments or something. And I'm probably going to end up going to Walmart and getting one of those little drawers, you know, those little plastic things. But
Yep.
I'm excited to see kind of what he's come up with for stacking those boxes together, because there's so many pieces. Like, do you just organize them like Legos, or like Lego? Pardon me, because Lego is the plural form of that word.
Yep.
Have you been watching Lego Masters?
No. I've not had time. I've not had my kid's been sick all week. He's got croup.
Yeah, but I mean, you work overnight, so you just sit there. You don't have anything to do.
I've been looking. Actually, the things I've been doing is looking up things for the show. I'm like, we've talked about this. Scroll, know this. So it's just kind of been this constant trying to find something new and different. And that video allowed us a little bit different content than we've normally done.
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome, and I think it'd be a great idea to partner with the kid and get some projects going in multiple places.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to him and see if we can do a collaboration, because I'm excited. That would be a really good experiment, and it's something I could show my classes too, and be like, this is how you perform an actual experiment.
Yeah. So, yep. As long as you can repeat it, there you go.
Yeah.
But all right, everybody, we're going to end it here. Try not to run too far over on time. So next week we will be on this lovely gentleman's channel. It's Chris's, and I've got part of a topic on what we're going to somewhat talk about there, and kind of whatever else we kind of shoot back and forth on.
It should be a fun show next week. So I hope you guys can make it over to my channel. It's gonna be awesome.
So, but we greatly appreciate y'all for joining. One Raz, Eddie, thank you to Brian for popping on here. Ivy, thank you for jumping in chat as well. I'm trying to scroll and see who else was chatting up. TK, thank you, TK, for popping in. Always like it whenever you can jump in now and again. Cosmic Dumpster, thank you. And
TK, we'll see you later. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Have a good one, TK. We greatly appreciate it. So yeah. Thank you, everybody, again, and we will catch you next week, same time. Well, time changes happening this weekend, so it's going to be a little different for some people.
I live in Arizona. We don't do time changes. You know?
Yeah.
Is that this weekend that's happening?
That's Saturday. It's Saturday.
So
it'll be 10 o'clock your time.
It's spring. So spring forward, which means that tomorrow, next week, it's what time do we start? 10 o'clock your time?
10 o'clock my time.
So 10 o'clock your time is going to be 8 o'clock my time.
Is it 8 o'clock your time?
Right?
Because we're springing forward.
So everything happens an hour earlier for you, right? So what used to be 10 o'clock your time is still 10 o'clock your time, but if you didn't change times, it would be 9 o'clock your time.
Yes.
It happens an hour earlier, right? So it would be 8 o'clock my time on Fridays. Okay, I got it.
Anyway, so yeah, so for everybody else, it's going to be the same. For Chris, it's a little different. But we greatly appreciate you guys.
Change, so for some reason, I have to do everything different.
So, all right, Eddie, we will catch you next week. Yep, spring forward, fall back.
I've lived in Arizona my entire life, and so the whole concept of daylight savings time is so foreign to me. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, this is something that's so to me, it does not affect my life at all. And so every time something changes because of daylight savings time, it's like, why is that changing? I don't understand, and it just confuses me to all get out because I've never had to deal with it before ever. I just don't.
Yep.
I've lived in Arizona my entire life. 31 years old. Well, I did live in Brazil for 2 years, and they had daylight savings time. And it was always really cool when you woke up on that Sunday morning and you had an extra hour to get ready for church,
Yep.
But other than those 2 years, I just never had to worry about it. And so it just never. Yeah.
But thank you everybody again, and we will catch you next week. Have a good weekend. Take care.
See you guys. Approved coronavirus handshake right here. That's how you do it.